Got space for the kiddies in there?
No, not kids.
Just you and the missus.
That's all you need. So we're long overdue to do an Aussie V8 here on inCARnation Australia. Today we have, I think, the most Aussie V8 you can possibly get. It's an HSV Maloo Ute GTS-R, the last off the production line. We're really looking forward to sharing it with you today. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Mate, we got matching haircuts.
Yeah. Wasn't much point continuing with what I had anymore, Stu.
No, and you can do it yourself. Brothers from a different mother. Welcome back, Mark.
Yeah.
Can I just say welcome back to Australia, mate?
Thank you, Stu. Yeah. So here we are with something special because there's so many people asking when are we going to do an Aussie V8. So luckily I've got a good friend of mine, Frazer, who has probably the ultimate Aussie V8.
It is.
Which is this car right here. GTS-R.
Maloo Ute, the very last of the last. Holden
last.
started in the late 1940s and finally gave up the ghost, closed its doors in 2017, and this was the last, fastest, most powerful, most expensive and best
Definitely.
Holden ever produced.
Yeah, it's a sad story really, isn't it? And
Yeah.
there'll be no more of these, and not only that, not only the demise of Holden itself and GM here in Australia, it really marked the end of vehicle manufacturing in Australia. We do nothing here anymore. Everything's imported.
Yeah.
So this really is the end of the line. So really lucky to be able to drive it today, and having Frazer lend us this very rare car.
Yeah.
Number 535 out of 600.
Of the GTS-R Maloo Ute.
Yeah.
And about 1,300 sedans, and of which 15 went to the UK as Vauxhall VRXR GTS-Rs or something
like that. Yeah.
And they made about 300 of the W1s, which is the only one that had more grunt than this.
Yeah.
This one's about 435 kilowatts. That's a lot.
That's a lot of power.
780 Newton meters. But the W1 was the Walkinshaw really special. Made about 300 of those. But it's still a ridiculous amount of power. We've got even a gauge here. You're putting out 8 kilowatts right now.
It's all there, isn't it? So if we drop it back a bit of a gear and let's see what we can do there.
It's still building up, isn't it?
It's up there pretty quickly, doesn't it?
It sure does.
It's really interesting, this car. Supercharged 6.1 litre V8, like it's really fast, but there's not as much down low as you'd think there would be.
Oh.
It's all in the mid-range and it's all in the top end of this car.
Maximum torque's I think at around 3.5, 3.8,
Yeah.
something like that. Hey, you haven't been up this road for a while. Last time we came up here was in the Mustang. If you want to see the review of the Ford Mustang, there we are. We did go with Ford Holden.
Yeah, Ford Holden.
We've got them both covered.
That one was a US-built Ford. This is an Aussie-built Holden. And,
yeah. It's a sad story.
Well, all Aussie car enthusiasts will know the story of the demise of Holden, but a lot of our American subscribers certainly won't. So
Yep.
It's interesting. It's actually super impressive. The steering has a really good feel to it.
It's not too light.
If I go into performance mode there, it just tightens the steering up a little bit. But electric power steering has a really nice weight. The car actually feels pretty nimble for what it is, for it being a big car.
Yeah.
Dimensionally, it's a long car, it's wide.
Over 5.1 metres long.
Yeah.
Most of it's that tray. I think that tray's 4.5 by itself, and the rest of the car's about 2 feet long. Those pedals from here don't look like they're terribly conducive to heel and toe.
No, the pedal setup is not great. The throttle is a long way away from the brake. You've really got to have a big stretch. I mean, it's an interesting engine. It doesn't rev freely down low, like when you go into a bit of a blip on the throttle on a heel and toe downshift, it doesn't give a real nice rump that you expect it to do. Mm-hmm. It's a little lazy on that. You've really got to give it quite a bit of throttle there to make a nice heel and toe downshift. Not that you really need to do that, it's just kind of a cool thing to do. But yeah, the power's all up high.
So here in third, for example, I can hear a bit of supercharger whine there.
Yeah, a bit of whine out of the supercharger. It'll come out of here in third gear.
Very slow
You
speed.
can just pulls out of there beautifully in third.
It is. Yeah, that was
through
good.
there. I mean, a little bit of traction control through there. You can feel just a fraction.
Yeah.
But it's very well behaved, isn't it? It's actually really engineered very well, isn't it? Puts the power down so well. Considering there's no weight in the back, the traditional, high performance Ute here in Australia, you think, well, you've got to throw a couple of bags of cement in the back to get the back end to grip around corners.
Yep, as you would.
They've really ironed all of that stuff out. One thing that I do like with a car that is better than I thought it would be, being a manual car, there's not that many manuals, most of them are automatics. Generally, you'd prefer to have a manual in a vehicle like this. Earlier iterations of these manual gearboxes in cars similar to this I've driven are a bit clunky and a bit awful in the throw. This is actually really nice.
Is it?
So the feel of the gearbox, the shift is good. It's a relatively short shift. It's really positive. Often with these cars, if you're buying them, you probably just tick the box for auto and go for the paddle shift. But that's actually a surprise. It's better than I thought it was going to be.
Well, while we're having a sedate cruise behind the Subaru, let's tell the story of Holden for our international viewers who may not know it. Now, you may have seen Holden overseas as your Vauxhall VXR, and in the States as the Pontiac GTO.
The 2004 Pontiac GTO, which is based on GM's Australian market Holden Monaro and is built down under, has a lot of legend to live up to.
Monaro had the Pontiac GTO there for a while, didn't they? Yeah.
That was our two-door Monaro, beautifully engineered and designed here in Australia using the American Chev motor, and those cars were very well regarded. I think Jeremy Clarkson loved them, and Chris Harris as well. Holden in Australia has had a reputation for doing really good design and engineering, and it's probably quite well deserved. We're often accused of being Euro snobs, with all our Porsches and Volvos and BMWs and things, and I'm often accused of being an electric zealot, which is even worse than being a Euro snob.
That is even worse, Stu. That's as bad as it gets, in fact.
Wait till I get a Euro EV and then start. Now, Holden, up till about 2000, could do no wrong, really. They engineered nice cars that the Australian public wanted. They made sedans, Tirana, Commodore, Monaro, were just the really good popular sedans. Around 2000, everything started to change. GM in America became a global brand, trying to compete with the Chinese, and they started importing lesser vehicles, shall we say. We've got the Viva, the Astra, the Vectra, the Epica, the Captiva, the Epidural,
Go on and on, whatever they were.
Yep.
All mostly made in Korea, I believe.
Australians went, that's not a real Holden.
That's right. We're very parochial like that.
Yeah. And real Holden is a station wagon or a sedan or a two-door thing with HDT or Holden Racing Team written on it, one at Bathurst. An SLR 5000, an A9X, a GDR, XU1. That's an Aussie Holden. So Australians started deserting Holden and going to Toyota and Mazda and buying SUVs and even Korean cars. Oh no, this is very sedate.
It's very sedate, isn't it?
So in 2009, GM in America, the parent company for Holden, filed for bankruptcy. And a couple of years later, the last year of the Labor government in 2012, Holden said, we need capital, we need a bit of a helping hand. And the Australian government gave $270 million of taxpayers' money to Holden just so they could keep going. And they said, if you do that, we'll invest $1 billion in Australia, it'll generate $4 billion of revenue, and we'll keep making cars till 2022 for another 10 years. And we said, fantastic. And a year later, there was a change of government, and they said exactly the same thing to the Liberals. And they got another $265 million and said, things are really tough, we'll go broke. And they started laying off people, cutting jobs, cutting wages. In fact, between 2000 and 2010, Holden was subsidised $150 million a year by the taxpayer every year on average. So a lot of money gone pouring in.
Not sustainable, is it?
No. Australians fell out of love with the station wagon and the sedan. They fell in love with SUVs and dual cabs. And it only took another year before General Motors said, sorry about that, we were wrong. We're going to stop all manufacturing in Australia by 2017, which is what they did. And you hardly see them now, do you, on the road? Where have they all gone? All those Commodores we saw 5 years ago, I just don't know where they are. Mate, you're pushing 7 kilowatts, 13. Better take it easy. 500 Newton meters, 600. It is toppy, isn't it? There's a turn off up the lookout here on the right. Is this a lookout? It's beautiful.
I'll just go and park it here for a bit, eh?
Yeah. Let's see what the view's like here at the
Let's have a look.
At the lookout. Well, it's clouded up a little bit.
Yeah, Pacific Ocean out there, Stu. Very nice. Jamboree, New South Wales.
Meat pies, footy,
Kangaroos,
and Holden cars with a V8.
as they say. It's the old saying, and it's such a part of our nation in many ways, that brand. It's a shame it's gone, but you know, you talk to young guys now, like some of the young guys that I'm coaching here, racing drivers in Formula 4 here, and Aussie guys that are out of the country, and you mentioned Holden, and it's already not even there for these kids coming through.
I mean, Ford's still here, aren't they? You know, the brand's still here. The Range is the best-selling car.
Well, you know, they don't make any Fords in this country anymore, but there is still Ford in this country. There's dealers in this country, and there are no Holden, there are no GM. The whole brand is gone. They really screwed it up.
It is sad.
You'd have to say. Ford did a good job, even though all their cars are imported. You've got the Ranger here, the Ford Mustang, and a bunch of other cars that are actually really quite good cars. None of them made here, but you can still go buy one.
And they've only got themselves to blame. Holden Australia, you know, they sat on their laurels and they thought, no, if we make it, Aussies are going to love it, and that's not necessarily the case. No. And GM in the States wasn't being very honest at all. They happily took the money, Australian tax money, just went straight to GM, went straight to head office, and they just pocketed it and didn't reinvest.
Yeah, we were bailing them out at the end of the day.
They were spending more in subsidies here than GM in America was investing in the brand here. Yeah, and they eventually said, oh, we don't want to build right-hand drive cars.
It wasn't sustainable and it wasn't going to last, there's no doubt about that.
No. So poo to you, General Motors, and poo to you for selling Opel to Peugeot Citroën, and selling Oldsmobile and all those classic brands. Poo. So what can you actually fit in the boot? Is it big?
You can fit a lot of things in the boot, provided none of it is too tall.
Oh.
It's a big...
You need to unbolt it all.
But I'm guessing with a six-figure plus car, you're not taking it to the building site, are you?
No.
Loading up with gravel and
20-inch wheels,
timber and stuff,
dragging rip the splitter off. Again, what's it called?
Spitfire. This is a fantastic colour.
Spitfire.
I know you're not that keen on it.
You like it, don't you?
I love it. There's no red line on the tacho, so the first time I went, gave it a bit of a blast, and first it was the rev limiter kicks in just a bit over 6.
Oh, really? So, yes, actually, that's right. This one, 6.2, I think it's red line.
Just over. It caught me out. I thought it would be a bit higher than that.
Yeah. No, the W1 goes to 6.6.
Yeah,
but this one's only just over $6,000. Righto. How does she pull?
There's a bit of limiter.
Tacho goes to 8, but the limiter cut in at just on 6.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think I've been a bit spoiled lately. Look, it has to be said, I mean, this is a monstrous car, supercharged 6.2 litre V8. I've been in too many fast all-wheel drive electric cars lately, but it'll run out of steam and this thing will just roll over the top of it.
Yeah.
At illegal speeds.
Yeah, you just keep grabbing gears in this car and it just keeps on going. Having said that, I have been on the racetrack Eastern Creek. It's doing sort of 220, 230 down the straight there, and it's still got more to go. So
it's very toppy.
It's really top end, and it's not so much on the acceleration. It's in the mid-range and top end.
Yeah.
Very hard to achieve that on the road, of course.
Yeah.
Whilst that is really fast, it's not perhaps as fast as you would think it should be.
No, 4.1 seconds, 0 to 100.
But yeah, it actually sits really flat in the corners. Big brakes on it.
Yeah. 1,800 kilos, so I mean not as heavy as it could be.
Oh. So that heel and toe there, you've got to give it a really big rev to get anything happening. The A-pillars on its car are probably about the worst of any car I've driven. It's right in your field of vision when you want to look through the corner there. It is so huge, it's probably about the biggest A-pillar I've ever seen on any car.
Okay.
That is actually a bit problematic. When you're driving and a little bit of spirited driving on tight corners, I want to really be looking right through that corner, and that's actually obstructing my vision in the corner quite a lot.
What you're saying, it's better suited to a racetrack than
where you're not cranking on quite as much vision in the corner.
Yep.
But really grippy, isn't it? Back of the car is sensational. They got the suspension set up correctly.
Yeah.
And it's actually really, really impressive.
What does Maloo mean anyway?
Maloo?
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people are wondering what that means. Thunder in one of our Aboriginal languages here.
Thunder?
Thunder. Yeah, it is appropriate.
Maloos, came right through
Yeah.
from the
That name.
VP, VR, VS, VX, VY, VZ, VE and the VF. And they were rough riding, unlike this.
This is not rough riding, is it?
No, it's beautiful.
It's actually superb.
Here's a tight hairpin.
I go back down to first there.
First gear.
We'll come out of here, give it a little bit, just.
What's the turning circle like?
That's all right out of there, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, as I'm doing that, I'm looking, there's no traction control kicking in, putting that power down beautifully, and that was, you know, full throttle first gear, and the road's a little damp there as well, so.
The long wheelbase helps, I think. It's over,
Yeah,
it's over 3 metres.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Look, 0 kilowatts, 0 Newton meters.
Saving fuel.
Are you using regen to recharge the battery?
No, we don't need that.
I believe they're thirsty.
Turn around here.
It said 80 to 120 k's an hour, 2.5 seconds. And second gear's in the middle of that, so
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to try that.
pretty rapid, yeah. It's pretty quick. Don't you reckon?
Yeah. It came up on the limiter pretty quickly.
Yeah, the standing start, not so much. It'll sit there spinning wheels and smoking them up and doing burnouts if that floats your boat, which it does for a lot of people, but it doesn't for us, and we're certainly not going to do that with this car. So down to first here. I'm amazed with how this car puts the power down still. It's way better than I thought it was going to be. The gearbox is way better than I thought it was going to be.
The ride's good.
The actual ride of the car is really good, isn't it?
Holden got it right.
Got it right at the end. How many Holdens have you owned, Stu?
A Chimera, a Commodore,
Chimera.
2 Astras, but working for that company we worked for, I drove 15 of these, you know,
Yeah, right.
Monaros and Commodores, so the 5.7s and 6 litres. So I'm familiar with them, but I've only owned about 5.
I've actually never owned a Holden, so maybe I'm part of the problem.
But you're enjoying it now.
Enjoying this, yeah.
Oh, good. It's good to have you back, Mark.
Yeah, it's good to be back, Stu.
Viewers, if you're glad to see Mark back and driving a car instead of me doing my stupid electric Porsche stuff, then leave a like or a comment. Say, welcome home, Mark.
A lot of driver training in Malaysia, at Sepang, and in Spain, throughout Spain, and back in Dubai. So yeah, I really enjoy getting these young kids up and running in Formula 4 and helping them with their careers. But it's great to be back here doing this. We're long overdue, aren't we? That's third gear through there.
Yeah, I noticed.
It's beautiful.
Considering it's damp too, a little bit of movement there.
Yeah.
We're on Continental Conti Sports, and they're pretty damn good.
Pretty good tyres, aren't they? I tell you what, there's a lot to like about it. There's a lot about this car that's better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you're not just a Euro snob. You're not just a BMW tragic.
No, I'm not. I am a bit. But yeah, I mean, just the heritage of this car, I think the importance of this car just adds so much to the story. And you know what we're all about here on inCARnation is interesting cars that have great stories. And for me, this car has a fantastic story and backstory behind it.
It's expensive, right? It costs easily 6 figures to buy this car.
Yeah.
It's a collectible classic. Can you have almost as much fun with a SS Redline Ute, you know, just an SSV or an R8 Clubby?
Yeah, you probably can. This is just another level. You know, I've driven a few HSV Utes, R8 Utes and various things over the years, and I'll be honest, in most cases they're not that pleasant to drive.
Yep.
This thing
No,
is.
the early one's very harsh ride.
This thing really is.
Yeah. I expected to sit lower in this seat. You know, the bolsters on the side are good, but it's got quite a high ridge in the middle, so it's supportive of the lower back, but I don't feel like I'm really wrapped in the seat like you would be in your little Renault Megane, for example.
Yeah, that's right. You've got a little bit of electric adjustment on this side.
Yeah. Mine's fully manual.
Yeah, I'm down as low as I can go on the seat there at the moment. Would be nice to get it a little bit lower.
I don't have any of that. I'm sitting really high.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like a bus seat.
Yeah.
It's designed for somebody a bit broader than me. The supports are out there, but they're a fair way away, so I slide around a bit before I...
Designed for your average Australian, Stu.
What can you say about this car? What's our summary? It's a collectible.
our friend who owns the car, Frazer, does drive it quite regularly. It's got 22,000 Ks on it, which is probably a fair few for one of these. A lot of these are sitting in garages as investments. They've probably all come back a bit now, but there's no doubt they are a solid investment going forward, simply because they'll never be made again, no matter what happens. So that adds value to the purchasing decision.
I know you like the colour. The colour's not really for me.
Yeah, I love the colour.
I like the copper,
Yeah.
and I like the red, and I like the silvers. Huge brakes, 410mm front, 372 at the rear,
Massive.
and they work, don't they? Six pots on the front, four
Yeah.
pots on the back. Yeah. Do they work on the track? Not too bad.
Not too bad. Pretty good, yeah. I've been on the track in this car and actually pretty good.
So there you are, folks. That's our review of the Holden Maloo 2017 model GTS-R.
Last of the last.
Last of the last.
I'd really like to hear some comments from our subscribers in America. What do you think of this? Aussie pickup,
Yep.
or Ute as we love to call them.
When you think of a truck over there, you're thinking of an F250 or an F350,
Yeah.
which is a real truck.
Yeah.
This is small by comparison, but this is what we call a truck. It's a Ute. And if you've driven the Pontiac GTO, which was the two-door Monaro that we sent over there, and you've had one of those, let us know what you think
Let us know.
of
Yeah,
that as
interested,
well.
I think.
There we are, we've redeemed ourselves. It's not electric and it's not European. It's a proper car.
Yeah, it is. Well, you have to say it's a proper car. It's a lot of fun, isn't it? Just one screen. Not a lot of gadgetry going on here.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
I think we need to do a Falcon now.
Yeah, we have to go Falcon. So let's find one of those. We do have some interesting cars coming up. I've got the latest M3 CS, the previous M3 CS coming up.
That's not a Tesla Model 3, that's a BMW M3,
Yeah, correct, yeah.
just to clarify. Hey look, Robertson Pie Shop.
There you go. For what it is, I really do appreciate it and I like it and it's great to drive. Handle and go as well as it does. It's actually very clever, isn't it?
However, I still don't want one. But what do you get? In terms of features and everything, this is a little bit last generation, one generation back,
Yeah.
but it's all there. You know, the lap times and power,
Yeah.
it's all there that you want.
But there's a lot of great features to that from a performance point of view. I like the fact that it's not all screens. We've still got a little bit of analog here.
It's old school, and it's a hark back to the glory days. Brocky at Bathurst, that's what this is. A throwback to the good old days. Manual gearbox, big lusty V8, rear wheel drive. A lot more traction than you'd expect for a car like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the time to buy one's now, if you're going to get one.
Because
You
they've
know,
definitely come off
there's
bit.
a big peak in COVID
I think
of
so,
interest,
yeah.
and it's sort of waned a little bit now.
I can't see these getting any better price than what they are at the moment. You know, they were crazy and the price was out of control 12 to 18 months ago.
$1 million for a W1.
I can't see that happening again.
No, but I can't see this falling below six figures.
I don't think so.
Mark clearly enjoyed the big Maloo, Holden's last hurrah. I didn't drive it, but now that I've had a few days to reflect, it's hard to know what to compare it to. I think it's in a class by itself, a class called Appreciating Aussie Nostalgia. It's not fair to put it up against the Euro super saloons that cost twice as much or more, where its rougher edges become a little apparent. They might be surgical scalpels, but the Maloo is more of a sledgehammer. Some things are mildly annoying and can't be fixed, like the A-pillars impeding your vision, but in other really important ways, particularly the chassis tuning, it's very well sorted, and a credit to the Aussie engineers who clearly were devoted to it. Even without the MRC magnetic ride control of the sedan, it's still a great ride, slow or fast. I do understand why people love them so much. Sadly, in our country of crazy low speed limits, it's a bit like taking a 2-wood to a putt-putt game. Unless you go to the track where it can stretch its legs and make a lot of noise, as the owner of this car does, that's when the Maloo makes sense.
So if you've always hankered after a fast Holden, but the W1 is out of reach, this thing's almost there. It just doesn't have those badges.
Yeah.
435 kilowatts versus 474. It's still plenty of mumbo. 780 newton meters versus 815.
Yeah.
That's not a lot of difference.
Not a huge amount, is it?
No, the shove's pretty much the same in the mid-range.
I was going for 7th gear then, Stu. Just loping along in 6th gear at 80 kilometres an hour.
Yeah. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks, Mark.
And I have to say thanks to Frazer and to Jane for letting us use their amazing Ute here today. We've really enjoyed it. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. You've been asking for it for a long time. So let's see how we go. Lots of likes, lots of views. Thanks, guys.
And thanks for coming back to Australia, Mark.
Just to do this with you, Stu.
Yep.
Going again next week.
Oh yeah.
I'll be off again for a month.
Back to Dubai or New Zealand or
Back to New Zealand for a little bit, then to Spain, and then coaching the Formula One stars.
the
of tomorrow.
stars of tomorrow. Half your luck. I hate you.
Oh hey, you made it right through to the end of the video. Congratulations. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, please share it with your motoring friends. And above all, click the little subscribe thing down here so you can see the latest videos when we bring them out, hopefully each week. I look forward to seeing you soon.